Transhumanism. Can human beings evolve beyond our current physical and mental limitations with the help of science and technology? And perhaps more importantly, should we? Will humanity reach its true potential through the assistance of science and technology? Or did Mother Nature intend a different path for our evolution? Will this technology even be safe or affordable for everyone? And how can we be sure that it will always be used ethically? What will become of humanity as we merge with technology? These are the questions surrounding the issue. I'm the Objectivist. To contextualize the benefits and risks of transhumanism, let's first look at the ways that modern technology has brought us together, affected our daily behavior, and had a positive societal impact. Technology as a positive societal force can be seen in numerous examples, probably too many to itemize, but let's just go with a few examples with mass in their description to demonstrate that it can massively affect a population in terms of operations and social change. Radio and other technologies related to mass communications have played a large part in bringing all of us together in modern Western societies. Although this technology was bigger in terms of its impact decades ago, without the work of James Maxwell and Heinrich Hertz on the application of radio waves or Marconi's first wireless signal in 1893, humanity wouldn't have wireless radio, one of the first platforms which provided humanity with theater of the mind plays, news, music on demand, and even the ability to use radio for communication in numerous wars during the 20th century. Another positive example would be trains, planes, and automobiles, and the infrastructure that supports these vehicles. Building highways and city planning has led us to getting around easily enough within the US. We have our problems with infrastructure and vehicles, including aging bridges, bumpy roads, and traffic accidents here and there, but can you imagine getting along without your car, a metro bus, or a train? These are technologies that, although sometimes frustrating and expensive, get us to work, school, or anything outside of that. You could say that mass communication and mass transit have worked in conjunction and led to a faster world, a world that relies on a sense of instant gratification and dealing with traffic as a means by which we can get around and speak and meet with one another. Although these innovations may have their drawbacks, they have substantially changed operations on a planetary scale in a net positive way. These technologies demonstrably help us move faster through this world. On the downside, some technologies like CCTV cameras are used for mass surveillance, and public policy in some countries supports this technology being used on a mass scale to keep the population under control. It lets the people know they're being watched, but it also will occasionally dissuade people from acting like a fool or doing illegal things in public. Clearly, there are huge modern markets for applications you can create in the area of software development, from video games to proprietary software used at different companies, to social applications like Facebook or Tumblr or Twitter, to healthcare applications and financial applications. These are things that a lot of us use every day, and therefore markets based on raw demand have been created around them. Software programming is a skill that can produce good or bad results depending upon the intention of the programmer, or the intention of the code itself. Good working code can also be corrupted to become bad code. And this is the reality of coding. The code itself is so sensitive and often filled with personal information that the theft or even slightest change in the code could be used to harm someone or many people. These days, we rely on instant account access and digital transactions to be taken care of expediently, and our economy also relies heavily on these multifarious applications as well. While software design has clear positive uses and a gigantic economy surrounding it because it's so useful and powerful, the controversy that can come about is our reliance on it. When the code isn't protected or becomes corrupted, it can lead to massive breaches, massive attacks, and massive problems with clients using various applications. This is also why we need cybersecurity measures to protect software code. A program with bad code will not work properly, and therefore we need safeguards to keep that information protected from manipulation. Beyond this, we already know that some technologies can be detrimental to our health if we use them too much. For example, staring at your phone can affect your posture, Wi-Fi lowers sperm counts in men, and staring at a screen all day can affect your sleep. And popular websites like Facebook have been shown to cause anxiety and depression in some cases. With any technology including fire, the same technology that kept cavemen warm can also be used to burn villages to the ground. At least for the time being, humanity appears to be firmly in control of the technologies that we use. Technology is our servant and not our master. But is it possible that one day our technology will come to dominate us? People absolutely lean on modern technology to get them through their day. Although the meaning of all new technologies might be innocuous at first, designed to help and not hinder, the same technology can be used for horrifying implications. While software code can be used for positive things, it can also be used to program weapons of war and spying equipment. Certainly, all of us are aware of the implications of drones. Sure, they can provide useful surveillance of terrorist groups, but they can also be armed in fleets with weapons that kill people indiscriminately. We are entering an age where we may see Star Wars in our lifetimes. Weaponizing space is currently being researched and pursued by the US government and military, and it's implemented by deploying weapons beyond Earth's atmosphere. How do you imagine this technology could be abused if it fell into the wrong hands? Will quantum computing come with nothing but net positive effects? Sure, we know about the potential of it for processing information quicker, but what about all the problems associated with it? The reliability issues, the scalability issues, the security concerns. And speaking of the future, what about the duality of the technology behind intergalactic space travel? Eventually, we're going to have to ask ourselves what the costs are, how to allocate resources to venture into the final frontier, and what about all the bad things that will come with trekking across space? What about space junk? How to ethically deal with harvesting resources from other planets without destroying their environments? And what if drones and Star Wars technology become self-aware, like Skynet from the movie Terminator? What if our technology dominates us, rather than the other way around? What would it take for you to merge with machinery, to become both a human and a robot? Would you do it to save your own life? Would you do it because it would make things easier, more convenient? Would you simply do it to amplify your own senses, or to enhance yourself in some way? Would you suggest it to somebody else to save their lives? We have a lot to think about as human beings regarding mortality. One of them is accepting the possibility of extending our life, to see our children born, to see them grow up. In microbiological terms, future technology could get so small and become so useful that it could alter us on the microphysical level. Could this kind of technology save us from the terms that Mother Nature put on our lifespans? Could it emerge onto the modern market with the proper demand? Will we necessarily evolve with this kind of technology? Certainly, the potential is there, but it's a scary kind of potential, isn't it? If we're going to interact with technology on a bodily level, what are the risks and rewards? Will we rely on this technology too much? Certainly we will if an economy forms around it. But what if that economy goes bankrupt? What if transhumanism turns us into techno-biological mutants, completely reliant on our digital hit, like a drug addict? Nanotechnological implants could also very well only be affordable and hoarded by the ultra-wealthy, leading potentially to a new and terrifying version of class warfare, where the technologically enhanced rich engage in immortal combat with the physiologically inferior and very mortal poor. These are just a fraction of the negative consequences to consider. But what about the positives? What about the idea of merging with technology as the ultimate means to find our identity? We could live longer with it. We could find it easier to enhance our lives and our bodies and to achieve our goals. And again, would you reject it or accept it by a means to save your own life or someone else's? Speaking as a person who isn't at all against capitalism as a means by which to promote positive human development, there is tremendous potential for economic development around transhumanism. Markets based around technology and health already exist, and they're driven by market demand. Need proof? We already have telemetry technology, which is wearable, which tracks and reacts to certain things going on inside of our bodies. For example, heart rate. If it is possible, why not just create a market where cancer can be annihilated by enabling Aunt Susan to just get chipped for the sake of her health? I mean, we all love Aunt Susan. We all want to see Aunt Susan live her fullest life, but she's got cancer. As a course of treatment, her doctor has recommended that she sign a waiver and try an experimental chip that could very well save her life. Here we have a product that all Aunt Susans can benefit from, that will enable the purchasing of a life-saving product. And what about RFID technology? Certainly, it could have its applications of tracking criminals, or even your own children. Would you place a microchip inside your own child to keep them safe? Some parents would. Would you want a criminal that kidnapped your child to be implanted with these trackers? These are the ethical quandaries that must be addressed before an economic rollout. What are the other target audiences that transhumanist technology will attract? Hey guys, want to appeal to that special gal and become a bit physically stronger? Give us your credit card number. We'll implant you with a chip that'll make you stronger, faster, maybe even more intelligent using nanotechnology. We can chemically manipulate muscle mass and brain tissue with nanobots. Order today. And what about access to the internet? Hey ladies, ever want to shop or access Pinterest or Facebook inside your mind? Now you can. You can just take our implantable chip inside the base of your neck to react to all of your chemical and electrical impulses. If you even think of a product, we'll send an advertisement to your retinal implants, which tells you the price and best store for purchase based on reviews. Simply purchase your microchip starter set here. It just takes a few simple operations. Huge markets will emerge because of this type of technology, with the promise of making people's lives simpler, faster, and more efficient. Let us again visit the meaning of the technology. The meaning is to use the technology to enhance us, to enhance our lives, enhance our abilities, or just to make us healthier. Current trends predict future trends after all, and we already have, right here in America, Chip Your Pet. This is an actual market. Do you love little Sparky, your French bulldog, or what have you? You could call it trans-caninism. This is already a thing. Get Sparky chipped. You can track him in real time from a wristwatch. And speaking about economy and implants, we already have implantable technologies like IUDs, retinal implants, metal discs, breast implants, the list goes on. The idea of merging with technology is already here. It's just not in full bloom yet. We have proof, scientifically verifiable proof, that huge markets can arise out of interesting things and ideas like transhumanism. However, we all know at least one person that can't stop looking at their phone all day. Can you imagine if this same person could interact with their phone on a fully biological, interactive way? A lot of us would rather live on our phone than in our own lives. How will you ever pull these people out of their technological coma? What if just once becomes a habit? What if it becomes a financial drain, as well as a mental and physical need? At what point is our interaction with technology too much of an ethical and economic burden on us? And what if we end up controlled by the same nanobots that our doctors prescribed to cure us? Can someone please prove to me that having nanobots and microchips crawling around in our bodies, transmitting and receiving, won't lead to rising cancer rates? Are we sure our biology is built for this? Is the human body built for things transponding and sending signals inside of us all the time? My money is on no. But science may prove me wrong. Maybe there's a safe way to hybridize with technology. Maybe technology will give us more insight into our true nature. Maybe we are living in a holographic reality, and this will bring us closer to understanding the universe in some way. But overall, I think there's going to be some health consequences. Maybe some health consequences that we can't currently predict. Is there truly a completely safe way to interface with this technology for human beings if it emerges on the market and you happen to be able to afford it? What happens to us when we become more robot than human? Human beings are defined by several things: our biology, our empathy, our emotions. What happens when our biology becomes reliant on things like nanobots and microchips to keep our lives sustained? And what about the security implications of merging with technology? If you have technology that can potentially sense the impulses and problems within you, how can you ever be sure that your information will ever remain personal ever again? To summarize my final points and recommendation on using this technology in the future, I think a good general recommendation I can offer up is simply the principle of writing unbreachable code. Coding for transhumanist programming must be developed to serve and not harm, and it's also important that we protect the code with cybersecurity measures as well. Beyond software, we're going to have to invent extremely tiny machines that will be helpful on the hardware side of things. This could take potentially decades or centuries, who knows. And on the topic of good code can also include making laws to keep the technology under control. If this technology is shown to be massively damaging to the human condition, it should probably be outlawed. You can't allow technology like this to run amok on humanity. We already have microchips. This technology could simply be equipped with specific sensors and transmitting advancements to send and receive radio frequencies, to phone lines, the internet, anything really. All it takes is the advent of proper hardware, software, and a target audience to sell to. That'd be a good way to start. I would recommend a very slow rollout of this technology. I think a good way to start a transhumanist economic program is to let people decide whether they want the technology or not. It should never be forced on anyone. This has to be about free will decisions. Transhumanist technology should also be government regulated, most likely. Stipulations must be baked into the guidelines of the acceptable use of the technology. It should not be available to everyone, only those that want it or need it. Massive benefits like creating new markets may also create tens of thousands of jobs for technical workers, engineers, programmers. It may also help us live longer and fuller lives, expand our options for health problems, provide us with all kinds of enhancements, and even help us along in the evolutionary process. The central issue is, we must be sure this technology does not dominate us. We have to examine the issues and establish limits within our own ethics as a society in interfacing with it. And hopefully one day we can establish a balance between us and the technology that we bring forth.